So welcome to this month's Business Women Australia Online Monthly Virtual Connect. We hold this on the last Thursday of every month, so we would love to have more of you come and put this in your calendar as a regular thing and join us. It's a great way to connect across all our states and territories and across our sectors and professions. And I love meeting members during these opportunities and actually delving into some of the topics that are coming up for us each month. I'm Business Women Australia's founder and National Director, Lynn Hawkins, and I'd like to pay my respect to elders past, present and emerging, and recognise that we're all meeting on sacred, sovereign Indigenous lands. I'm here zooming in from Bulu, which is the lands of the Whadjuk people of the Noongar Nation, and like to celebrate our Indigenous sisters in business. Great to have so much more engagement with our Aboriginal women across the different sectors, entrepreneurs and executives and professionals. Thank you to our sponsors. We could not do what we do without you, and really is a great time of this time of the year. We've got Stacey Payritz at LG Accounting Solutions, who are our team, helping us with our tax strategies and with our cash flow. So good to have a strategic accountant in the group, and of course Will and the team at Co-Digital, who look after our website, Intact Teams, Jessica Schubert, and of course, my Vida, who is the inspiration behind so much of our content and the way that we really bring to life the values of what it is to be a part of Business Women Australia. Thanks also to Joanne Bradbury at 3 Drops, our favourite wine, and to Fire Up Coaching, who are our partners for accredited coaching training. I've done the course and the diploma, and we also have Kerry Nobes on the call today, who has also done that certificate in coaching, mentoring, and the diploma as well. So if you're interested in doing that through Fire Up and you want to know what it's like, just reach out to me and Kerry will let you know. It's changed our lives. So it is a great collection that we have. It's a very dynamic and fast growing movement. And it isn't just business owners. We do also have a lot of women on boards and executives. We have women who have ambitions to be on boards, to be in leadership roles. And we have a lot of seasoned women who have had both corporate and entrepreneurial experience as founders or running even listed companies. So there's a real mix, and that's what I love about our community. It's the magic. It comes from, I think, that mix. We've all got our own professions and we're very involved and active in our business associations in our various sectors, but it's just so good to be exposed to what women in other kinds of environments are learning and what lessons we can share with each other. Some great podcasts coming up, and I've had some good ones over the last couple of months as well. So if you aren't following us on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, wherever you like to listen to your podcast, please do. Please subscribe to our channel. Vida and I are going to be chatting tomorrow about purpose-driven leadership, and we'll be unpacking some of the program. We've been spending quite a lot of time really working on the program for the leadership retreat in Bali. But whether or not you can come to that Bali retreat, or whether or not you just want to understand more around how you can be a purpose-driven leader, please tune in or listen on catch up. We also have the recordings of our podcasts and our webinars on our website as well, so you can catch up anytime by going there. On the 2nd of April, I've got the wonderful Jo Robin. She's got a background as in venture capital and with very large-scale tech companies, and she's gone out now on her own in business, and we're going to be looking at breaking barriers around transformational leadership, growth and balance. And of course, on the 17th of April, our podcast with Jessica Schubert, who is the founder of Intact Teams and happens to also be a shareholder in Business Women Australia and head of our leadership development program. We're actually unpacking high-performing teams. Jess has got some really interesting insights on how we really measure high performance and how some of our measures can actually be very distracting and actually have different impacts than we expect. So we're actually going to really cover a lot of that, which will also lead into one of the webinars that Jess has agreed to host for us. I think that's going to be back in May. May or June, it might even be later, but keep an eye on Jess's webinar because that's when we have these kinds of interactions. Sydney and Perth, we've got opportunities for some video content creation. Book in with Alicia. Alicia Lansdowne is on the call today. I've asked her to join with us because we are delving into LinkedIn, and video is really powerful on LinkedIn. So we'll be actually asking Alicia for some tips on that. How many spots have you got left, Alicia, and in Perth and in Sydney for those dates?
So we've got 3 spots left in Perth and we've got 4 in Sydney.
Excellent. Okay, so for those of you who are tuning in, even on catch up, reach out to Alicia, and if you're not sure which sort of time periods there are, if those dates don't suit you, I'm sure that Alicia will make sure she lets you know when her next content creation sessions are, or book in for one-on-one with her at a time that suits you both. On 24th of April, we have our next Virtual Connect. So that'll be the last Thursday of April. And in Perth, we are doing an end of financial year Business Connect in the boardroom of LG Accounting Solutions with Stacey Payritz. For those of you in Perth lucky enough to have gone to the tax strategy session a few weeks ago, it was brilliant, full of things to consider in terms of tax minimisation. Stacey knows her stuff, but that boardroom was full of a whole bunch of different lawyers that were coming in from different perspectives and shooting questions and insights around what happens, you know, in terms of different structures. And I honestly learnt so much just from all those peers all talking and sharing with each other what we need to be doing as directors to protect ourselves from all sorts of things. So 7th of April, I'm in Sydney. I can't wait. I'm going to be on the Gold Coast at a conference for Private Wealth Network. And I thought on the way through, because getting to the Gold Coast from Perth, you have to go in either via Sydney or Brisbane. So I thought I'll fly in via Sydney, stay the night, and we'll have a boardroom discussion. On the 7th of May at Servcorp, thank you to Servcorp for hosting. And on the 10th of May, I will fly out of Brisbane. So we'll have a lunch on a Saturday. I'm surprised at the number of women who are really happy to catch up on a Saturday. So I'm really pleased to be at Lennon's private dining room in there at the Hyatt. Our friends at the Brisbane Hyatt, lovely Tessa, I'm hoping she will join us as well for lunch. That's going to be great to catch up with all the Brisbane community. So we have a special offer for our leadership retreat. For anyone who hasn't already booked and wants to come, if you are not a member, we're offering a bonus 3 months Connector membership at no cost. For those of you who are members, we will add that on to your membership. And for those who are leader members, we will also add on. Actually, I think it's a bonus 6 months for Connector and a bonus 3 months. Yes, it is for the leader members. So really excited about that leadership retreat. We've got 15 places left, or 14. After last night, we might only have 13 places left. We have booked out the whole of the Blue Karma Resort. So it will be extraordinary. So a lot of what we're all about, of course, is leadership growth and personal awareness and development and connecting and sharing knowledge. So that brings us to our content. So what I would love is for you, we've got a small enough group. What I'd love for you is to go around the room, introduce yourself, where you're located, and share some thoughts about LinkedIn. How are you using LinkedIn? Have you got any goals around LinkedIn? What do you want to do better at LinkedIn? So what's your relationship with LinkedIn? So I will kick off with maybe Teresa, if you could introduce yourself, where you're located, and what's your LinkedIn LinkedIn experience.
My LinkedIn experience is pretty basic. My name's Teresa de Moore, and my brand, you could say, is Life Being in it. And I do, my work history is so diverse, and a lot of my work has been solo, so my LinkedIn experience is quite average to low. I do post, but I don't really get many reactions or anything like that because I just don't have a real network of people that I know. Yeah, if that makes, yeah. Do you have?
No, that's great. Great.
Yeah, sorry, average, low.
No, that's good. Excellent. Okay, over to you, Katrina.
Thanks, Lynn. Apologies, I have a bit of a head cold. I got a flu on the way back from Ireland last week, so I'm a bit stuffed up. But I'm based in Perth, and I work in cybersecurity education and training. Um, LinkedIn is my go-to place. I don't really do any other social media anymore, and it's been very successful for me. So much so that um, while I was in Ireland, I was able to win work with an international bank over there and run a leadership training for 150 of their execs, and they found me through LinkedIn. And it was actually a podcast that I spoke on, that was shared on LinkedIn, and so it's been really successful. That's where a lot of my public speaking engagements, that's where they're finding me, is through my LinkedIn profile. So I do only post once a week, but I really want to work on that, and especially the video content. I know that's something that's very important. So it's a big focus for me this year is to improve LinkedIn. I have started collaborating with others and collaborating by writing documents and articles together, and that seems to be really good as well. So I'm working with some people from the UK, and we collaborate together and write LinkedIn articles, and they seem to get a lot of traction as well.
And with that writing of the articles with the collaboration, is that through the suggested collaborations that LinkedIn gives you, or have you gone out and created your own? Okay, interesting.
Gone out and strategically created my own, and then generally what we do is we meet and discuss a topic, and we co-collaborate by co-writing an article and then share it. So I've done it 3 times now, and every time we've done it, it's just expanding my network, because it's obviously introducing me to their network and vice versa.
I love that. I love that. Thanks, Katrina. Claudette, what's your introduce yourself, where are you from, and your relationship with LinkedIn? You need to take yourself off mute.
I just realized that I'm not really with it today. Yeah, Claudette from Footprints Publishing, book publisher based in the Perth Hills. Though hopefully not for much longer. I've had enough trees come down, and yeah, so it's all a bit much. My relationship with LinkedIn has definitely changed the last couple of years. I used to be quite active, but I must say I have thought about making connections, but I'm a little bit embarrassed about the way it looks right now. I have added that, yes, I'm a director and owner of Footprints Publishing Pty Ltd, and that's where it stops. So it's not good, and I really need to get back onto it and use it the way I used to, because it did prove to be valuable. Like Katrina said, I actually got work via LinkedIn back in the day. So I need to up my game, Lynn.
I love it, Claudette, and congratulations on getting your director title of Footprints Publishing in there. That's good. That's a great start. Love that. You know me, glass half full. How about you, Bronwyn? Welcome. It's good to have you. Unmute yourself. That's great.
Hi, so I'm Bronwyn Schrumpf-Glidden. I'm Director of Evertrue Solutions, small business coaching, focusing on transforming stress into success with small business owners, but I have a very particular focus on helping small businesses to become more sustainable. And with LinkedIn, I sort of have hits and misses. I've worked really hard at building up my profile, and I finally earlier this year finally got to over 500 connections, which I was really proud about. And I, for a period of time, would do a regular schedule of posts. Very much like what Teresa is saying, you know, like not a lot of traction. But I have, because I've built up such a network of people, and like these are really good people for me to be connected with. There's a lot of people in that sustainability space, and I want to be able to, I guess, develop that further, and like to be able to, you know, get referrals for coaching, but also working collaboratively with people. I'm looking at doing sustainability events and things like that. So yeah, this is something that I need to learn. And I know a lot of it comes down to consistency, but it helps to have that consistency if I know the end result, if I have more confidence in that, because at the moment I haven't really had a lot of, you know, traction or anything yet.
Well, thanks, Bronwyn. And where are you located?
Oh, sorry, yes. So I'm in Waroona, which is southeast of Perth. It's sort of right on the fringe of the southwest region.
Yeah, well, I'll be closer to you when I've sold the family home and I move into our holiday house in Mandurah, and I've got very fond memories of skiing in with the Waroona Dam.
I've done that.
Oh yeah.
Love it.
Up the road.
Remember a lovely, very lovely night with a bunch of very young friends before I got married. I think I did spend the evening actually kissing a guy in a sleeping bag for most of the night, and I was too tired to go skiing the next day.
Oh.
As you do when you're young and single, and yeah, it was a fun night. Alicia, what about you? Tell us about your experience, your relationship, or your business and
Yeah.
your
So
relationship.
I'm Alicia from Botanical Content. We're content production and video marketing experts. And what I am really passionate about is helping women gain their confidence on camera to produce content. I have been pretty consistent creating content. I've, been marketing all these other companies and neglecting my own until the beginning of this year. And I've gone from, about 500 contacts to over 2,000 contacts. And I've had posts that have reached or had more than 9 million views just on one post. I've also developed business from that, relationships, and even started a local networking group with one of the women who just saw one of my posts. So my experience is, once you step into that, or once you have the confidence to put yourself out there and be raw and authentic, you start to see the results because you're thinking differently. People are seeing that. They're not seeing a whitewashed version of that, and it really connects with people. So it's all about providing value at the end of the day. Something's gonna strike a chord with one person, and it might not with another, but if you just get your personal brand out there and express what you're passionate about and provide value, that's basically what I've been doing, and very sometimes ad hoc, like very raw, no makeup, no anything, just like here it is, and who cares, basically. So I think there is particularly a need for women to feel like we need to be polished before we get in front of camera, but it's definitely not the case. So I am embracing that, and that has been my experience.
Thanks, Alicia. And you're located in Sydney, aren't you? But you are coming to Perth.
Yes, I'm coming to Perth next Friday.
Oh my God, I need to get my strategy stuff in. So Alicia does a lot of work with you before the actual time, the slot. I think we've got 90 minutes in the studio, haven't we?
Yeah. Yeah, so the process is I'll send you a discovery document, you fill that out, and then I develop your content topics or content themes. So basically you can walk away after that and create content consistently. I've also got some online training, which you can do with or without signing up to the course, which is just smartphone video training. So you've got the technical skills to film and edit, which is on my website. So you get access to that, and then we go into the studio. We film a 1 minute piece, and we film 10 to 15 short 15-second reels, because 15 seconds is about the average, 15 to 30 seconds on LinkedIn, and we just film those short bits. You get a nice, beautiful new headshot as well. So yeah, that's what it's all about, and I think it will be a really, really fun way to just produce content. At the end of the day, it's good to see people creating content on their phone, but it's also good to see a mix of professionally produced content, which is why I don't do everything on my phone. I'll also do some stuff on my professional camera. Yeah, it's good to have a mix.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting the professional stuff we can put on the website. If you want to put in the chat box there, your link to the free you've got. Over to Kerry. Lovely to have you on. You haven't got your video on. What's happening with Kerry Nobes? Are you fully here with us? Do you want to take yourself off mute? She may be juggling things, so I will come back. Come back to us, Kerry, in the chat box when you're ready. Okay, so that was interesting because I started to think about what is it that gets in the way with doing the things that we want to do in LinkedIn. And I'm hearing a lot of those themes, in fact. So I've started to create a Businesswomen Australia playbook, which I will share with you when it's finished. But what I thought was really interesting is that, I went into ChatGPT and said, what are the things that stop people from actually doing more on LinkedIn? And I'll be really interested to know how much of this resonates with you. So the first thing that comes up that stops particularly women is the fear of judgment and imposter syndrome. So, and I think I get that too, because I work with a lot of lawyers and a lot of accountants who are in the world of, judging. This is right, this is wrong, this is the law, this is not the law, this is the numbers, this is not the numbers. So if they make a mistake in their work, they're so worried about making a mistake in anything else. And I think that fear of being judged as not being perfect, they think is reflecting on, their professionalism and how good they're going to be. If they get that wrong, then they might get something else wrong. So this gets in the way a little bit, I know, for the people that I work with. And I kind of relate to that too. When I first took on the role of the leader of Businesswomen Australia, I historically had my co-founder who was so beautiful and eloquent and, so perfectly dressed and tall. And, everything, I used to like be in the back, doing the strategy, do the partnership, bring the money in, do all that sort of stuff. And she was the sort of face. And when she retired, I had to kind of put my big girl pants on, to be honest, and step up. And I know I'm not perfect. I'm juggling. I've only got a few hours a day to put into BWA to keep it ticking over because I have my own work and life. So it's this fear sometimes that I'm stuffing up, but I have to just keep pushing on. And I was talking to Vita about that last night, and I was saying, Vita, you're a bit like me. You get your productivity's full on. And how do you do that? And she goes, well, I'm the 80-20 girl. I know that 80% of what I do is right, and 20% probably isn't. But if that is a problem to people, then they're not the right people for me. Okay, we're very lucky. We're not working in accounting and law. The second thing was a lack of clarity or confidence. So, I mean, that's two very big things. A lack of clarity might be around, well, what am I going to get out of LinkedIn? What's the purpose of doing it? What am I clear in doing it and why? The confidence is, I think, more attached to that fear of judgment and imposter syndrome potentially. The perceived time commitment was the third thing that came out. And I thought, wow, that's a classic because it is a time-consuming platform. It can actually draw you in and take up so much time. But I know for a fact that I'm prolific on LinkedIn, but I have outsourced my strategies. Some of it isn't always right. So some of it does slip through. I often talk about the Monday motivation that we did recently, which was the Helena Rubinstein Monday motivation that the girls, my Philippine girls posted, which was there are no ugly women, just lazy ones, which isn't really on brand or aligned to our values. But very funny. It was one of the most engaged posts. Everyone was like, what the fuck, Businesswomen Australia? We're not in the 1950s. This is an April Fool's joke. Not even April. So it was great to see people, we're watching our Monday motivations and we took it down pretty fast. And I don't, at the end of the day, they weren't people that have been engaged with our community anyway. So anyone who knows Businesswomen Australia knows us would know that it was a bit weird. I think Kerry saw it, and by the time she went to tell me about it to take a screenshot, we'd had it off. But yeah, so sometimes things do go wrong. But the time commitment, the more prolific and strategic you use LinkedIn, the more that you may want to consider perhaps resources to assist you with. I don't know, Katrina, do you use any resources externally to help you with your LinkedIn strategy, or are you doing it all yourself?
I used to, and I've done a number of LinkedIn courses, and I had a VA, but I've realized it's just easier to do it myself. And I just obviously ChatGPT has been a major game changer. And now what I do is I talk to it on my phone and I tell it what type of post I want to write and in my voice. So ChatGPT is really starting to learn how I speak. And I've got others to review to make sure that it is sounding like me, and everybody's like, yeah, it is. So that's what I've been doing, is doing a lot of that.
Yeah, we're seeing that a lot across our whole community. Just about everyone I know has found their favourite little AI and improved their AI by adding into the knowledge centre within their AI, so that they're actually constantly teaching their AI support to doing these sorts of things and getting the paid version so that it's your own, it's safe within there. So thanks, Katrina. That's really, that certainly does help with the managing of time. But to get to that point, you do need to practice on LinkedIn. You need to have an idea of what it is, like Katrina said, that she knows her voice because she's been doing it herself a bit. She's been practicing and getting a feel for what's resonating. But you can use AI to do some different summaries of things, and so maybe putting in there some of the other work that you're doing and getting it to come up with some draft posts for you to practice with. The fourth thing that stops people from being on LinkedIn and using it the way it can be used is misunderstanding the platform. So it was originally set up as a job-seeking platform, but it's actually become very much a business development and visibility platform. And I am seeing a lot of our members across the board just choosing LinkedIn. I remember it was potentially LinkedIn or Instagram, and Meta. I know we were doing LinkedIn, Meta and Instagram, and we were also using Twitter or X, which, we're sort of separating ourselves a bit from, but keeping an eye on it as well. But I think LinkedIn for us has been very much the case. If you're selling a product, that's a different thing. If it's a fast-moving consumer good, one of our board members is very much in that world. She's the CEO of Adorn Cosmetics and Petraka, and they use Instagram a lot, and they're also looking at all the other ones that the young people are using. What is it? The TikToks. Yeah, that's what it is. I'm just, I can't believe I said that. I'm starting to sound old. But yeah, one of the great things about LinkedIn that I love is the nurturing of connections. Even having Teresa here is a result of me checking in with Teresa, letting her know what's coming up. Leanne spoke on a radio show on representing businesswomen in Australia, and so it's been a great way to connect. And it's only really in the last few months that Teresa's decided to come on board and get involved. So it can take a while, because I think it's been a couple of years since we first connected, right, Teresa? So it can be a long nurturing game. The fifth thing is the corporate culture and professionalism pressures. There are absolutely some of our executives who are in, say, financial planning in a big company or in a bank, and they have to have everything checked through their governance people. And anything they do with us, like a podcast, it has to be approved. Anything has to be approved before it goes out. But it doesn't mean you can't do it. It just means you need to be using those approvals and making sure that they're all fine. Some companies do allow people to have a bit of freedom of expression on LinkedIn as long as they have a disclaimer and saying these are my personal views and not that of my employer. So if that's your scenario, or if you're coaching or working with others who want to do some sharing, just check in that they don't get themselves into trouble from that corporate governance point of view. The sixth barrier is apparently privacy concerns and overwhelm. I must admit, I have actually started to worry a bit about this myself, because my voice, my face, my mannerisms, everything I'm recorded, it's all out there. Katrina's nodding, and I'm like, I am a cybersecurity nightmare, because I would be very easily a deep fake person. Not that I'm that important, but I know that I'm looking at all these issues that Twiggy is having and celebrities are having, where people are being utilised because they're a trusted person to be selling fake things and investments that aren't true. And you know, it's really scary, because the more of our face and our voices that are out there, the more likely we could be a deep fake could be used.
I'm just gonna say, Lynn, that horse is bolted and it's too late. So it's more now about making people aware of how to verify and check. And I'm doing a lot of training, especially with local governments, around how to deal with AI deepfakes and how to check what's real and what's not. So I don't think there's any point worrying about it. I had that concern myself. And I think it's more now, it's more of an education and awareness piece, rather than trying to prevent yourself from being out there, because we're out there. All you need is 8 seconds of your voice to clone it. That's all they need. So yeah, it's the horse is bolted.
Okay, that's really interesting. I'm glad you shared that with us, because it comes down to doing your due diligence with anything. And what I say to anyone is, if it sounds too good to be true, then it probably isn't true. So if you're, so making sure that you're having these conversations with the seniors in your life, particularly the younger ones seem to be pretty switched on about this, although we have had a couple of young ones that have got caught up in it too, because it's outside the world they know. But yeah, especially with the seniors too. I mean, the young ones, at least if they do lose some money, they haven't got as much to lose and they've got their lives ahead of them to rebuild. But the seniors, it can be devastating. Sorry about that. That was a very ageist comment. I got to stop this. Need my kids here. They're cancelling me left, right, and centre. We care about you too. The other thing is, of course, that it can be overwhelm. The sheer volume of it. And I think that comes down to just micro steps, and we're going to share some micro steps shortly. The seventh barrier, and I've heard it from you, a couple of you, as we just shared there, was the lack of immediate results. And that's why I wanted to explain the story with Teresa here. I mean, I can't believe I've seen Teresa at the 2 events recently after crickets for years. So don't give up. When people's silence isn't a rejection. It just means they're not ready right now to, they can't see the relevance of you in their world right now. I used to say when I used to run sales teams for Telstra, until someone says fuck off, they haven't said fuck off, basically. So, you know what, they might, until they've basically said, I'm opting out, I don't want to have anything to do with you. And I've had a couple of people say that to me in my life. And that's okay. Until they haven't, they just keep them in your world. We have in one of my groups, we have a traffic light system for our relationships, in terms of where they are at, perhaps in a purchase cycle, and we go, they're freezing cold from a sales point of view, but we still want to connect with them because we like them, they're interesting, they're the kind of people we'd love to do business with down the track. We don't know how, but that's in that group. Then we've got our amber ones, which are really warming up, and we're starting to do some fun things together. They're actually potentially referring to us, and they might not be a client, but they're really important. And then there's our red hot ones that are actually like, oh wow, I'm coming along to things, want to do stuff. Actually, I'm thinking about joining. And
Mm,
the way
mm.
you treat each of those is different, you know, too. So you don't have to be, you know, as focused on the ones who are, you know, are going to be long-term, or you're not kind of sure where they're at. So it helps you manage your time when you're thinking about, you know, maybe you have a traffic light system with your relationships. And, you know, some relationships are important because they just purely give us joy and they fill us our cup and they're fun to hang out with. And that's a really important thing too, that I think a lot of sales training doesn't really understand or focus on, is you do need to have some coffee meetings just with some professional networks and friends, because it gives you the energy to go out and build those other relationships that are a part of a, you know, what we call in sales world a pipeline, a business development pipeline. So managing your time effectively, I think, is a really important part of this, and working out your first steps. So I'm going to share again, and we're going to do some more talking because I've heard enough of my own voice. And we're going to go around the room. We were going to do breakouts, but we won't. So we'll just share amongst each other. Something that you would like to do, actually, this is kind of what we did before, but something you would like to do as a next step. Thinking about what's coming up for you now, what would be your next step, just one step that you would like to do when it comes to LinkedIn? If I can throw to Alicia, what about you?
For me, it's I'm going to say two things: structure and consistency. I have been
structure. What do you mean by structure?
Okay, so I've been just, you know, flying by the seat of my pants and inspiration. So, but I've, you know, I started going through my own brand discovery last week. So I'd like to give my content and what I'm putting out there more structure so that I can continue to provide value to people, you know, working on my themes and my content buckets so that, you know, people follow me for a reason, and that's the value that they expect that they're going to get from me.
Nice. And what are your content buckets? Have you already mapped that out, or is that a work in progress?
It's a work in progress, but there's, you know, it is overcoming those self-limiting beliefs and things that hold you back, and, you know, how to overcome those. And just, yeah, some strategies for, you know, creating content along the buyer's journey. So
Yeah.
not just for social media, but how that translates on different platforms and what content to create where. What format is it? Professional, is it not? So yeah, and then, you know, engagement content as well. So yeah, there's lots of content topics at the moment. That's just off the top of my head.
I love that. And I was just noticed Katrina's actually sent the link directly to oh, she said Alicia's link for the free training session. There you go, Katrina. Well done. Smart chat.
So I didn't realize I could send to all. It didn't come up straight away.
It's all good.
So I just sent to everyone individually. So thank you for that.
I love that. I love it. And okay, what about you, Bronwyn? What are you going to focus on? What is going to be the small step that you want to start?
I guess I did have a bit of a campaign going. I was bringing in a business partner to work with, and she was going to manage all of the marketing, and I was looking forward to having that off my list of responsibilities. And so I had a bit of a campaign going just to I guess keep something ticking over until she could take over, and I was comfortable doing that because there was no pressure on me. I was just having something just ticking over, and then that partnership didn't work out, so I'm sort of back to, okay, well, it's on me now, and I haven't done anything since. But I guess I echo a lot of what Alicia's saying, is having that structure of exactly what to post. You know, I'm not wanting to make it all salesy, because, you know, no one wants that. But engaging content, you know, just I'd love to be able to share a post and it actually gets lots of you know, it's not just, you know, likes, views, and comments or anything like that, but actual conversations are, I guess, triggered by something that I might post. That would be really great. You know, so it is, I guess, I'd love to develop this network of people that I'm working with, and that I'd love for that to start from a post or something like that.
That's great. And thinking about, you know, doing it turning it on its head is something that I love doing, is thinking about who is my ideal audience for this message that I have. So who's my ideal audience in my business? Who's my ideal client? Who's my ideal referrer? Your ideal referrer and your ideal client are going to have two different levels of interest. And if you actually just brainstorm what are all the things that are worrying them, you know, the triggers, what's keeping them up at night, that's really good, because then you can actually shape the kind of content that's really going to be valuable for them. And so I love doing that in 2 columns, and I'll actually keep in mind who my ideal client is based on a person that I'm actually often have worked with or have previously worked with. So I might even name them and say, you know, okay, so Dom and Trish, they were my ideal clients. They were banking and finance owners of their law firm. What were the sorts of things that they were worried about when they first engaged me? What were the issues that then came through in their journey, getting their law firm to a point where it was then successfully became a part of a big international law firm, you know, and that was really a great outcome from a strategic business point of view. So then I start to think, well, wow, that actually brings up a whole lot of really interesting content ideas from people in that scenario, from a small practice looking at what their exit might be. And that's where my strength is taking a practice to its point where it's an exit. Or it's my exit if they want to continue, and bring in a marketing team and I'll help them do that. So, you know, what it comes down to then, or what are all the triggers? What are all the things? What are all the questions they ask me? And then that gives the content. So you've turned it around, rather than what are the things that I do and how, what is the, you know, it sort of makes it more personal. Otherwise, and it's a great way to start, is the industry trends that and all those sort of general things, but they're kind of not related to you. And they're not bringing yourself and your voice to it. So yeah, that's a really good way to brainstorm content, and to start shaping and experimenting then with what is going to resonate. Now, the other thing I've noticed, that a few of you said that you weren't getting much traction. So I want to talk about hashtags and tagging as well in a little while, but I'll keep going around the room first. So Katrina, what is your first, I mean, you're already very sophisticated in this. Have you got one thing that you're going to be doing and focusing on?
Yeah, well, as I previously said, Lynn, I'm, you know, really looking to build the speaking side of my business and become more of a paid public speaker. And I have engaged with a coach, so we're working through that at the moment, and doing things like getting a speaker reel created and those types of things. So it's more about getting my voice out there, and people hearing me speak and seeing me in action, rather than just content. And that's when people hear me speak, then it seems to resonate with them more. So that's the big focus for the next few months, is getting the voice. So probably the video with Alicia. That's I didn't even know that until I come onto this morning, that Alicia was doing that and she was coming to Perth. So I'm straight away messaging her going, how do I book in? How do I get booked in?
That's great. And look, I'll tell you what, I know that doing a TEDx is often a good thing to do as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely on the radar to do a TEDx, but yeah, we'll
Yeah.
start with the speaking.
And I know that there's a very good book publishing person in our community as well, who's probably thinking you should be writing a book, even if it's a short book, like the Dummy's Guide to Cyber Safety Today, and release one every year, because it's always going to be a little bit of a build on that, right?
The other thing that somebody shared with me recently, I met a guy, he's over in Melbourne, and he's like, I don't know, something like 20,000 followers or something on LinkedIn. And he was saying, you know, the what are they called, the polls, you know, where you can ask people a question, you get them to vote on it. He said it's been very successful for him for engagement, and he does one a week. Yeah, that's something that I'm gonna look at doing as well.
I did one years ago and I haven't done one for ages. So yes, great.
And that's what he said. He said it's just, you know, not every post is going to hit or land, but he said you just have to keep doing it. And that's what I found as well. But it's also finding the time of day. I've realized that, especially in Perth, like anything before 8 a.m., I seem to get massive traction. It's obviously people's in bed scrolling LinkedIn or on the train or having their breakfast, or I don't know. But anything that I post early in the morning, it seems to explode. If I do it late in the afternoon, crickets.
I know, or stuck in the school driveway. I know you're not allowed to be on your phone, but if you're just sitting there, it's very hard not to be. I can't put this out as a public recording. But yeah, they're great. They're great ideas for us too. So thank you for that. Teresa, what are you thinking? What are you going to be starting with?
Okay, I'm here. Well, there was so much what everybody just said. I can relate to everything. Even though I don't use LinkedIn as much as I should, I am active on Facebook, and I am starting to get active on TikTok, not often enough, because of what I do. And when we had the last conversation, I didn't really tell people what I do. Life being in it doesn't mean anything to anybody because it's just a brand. But this is my book, which I don't. Yeah. So I've written a book. I did this in 2012, and it's all about life skills and living your best life. And after I wrote this book, or during the writing of this book, which was my own life, I was studying psychology and life coaching. So I've actually done training in those things. And I still continue to write, and that's where Facebook comes into it. But then I still was putting posts on LinkedIn, but I found that LinkedIn is more, it's not like Instagram or TikTok. It's a bit different. It's more very businessy. And my self is a very, I don't know, like relational and a different style. So even though I'd post, and I might post milestones now, I stopped writing my inspirational messages. But through this, what we talked about today, Alicia was talking about consistency, which I think is great. And I think for me, what I need to work on is structure and planning, because I work from home and I work for myself. I can run from my moods. So I'm in the mood today to be super creative, and I'm going to create content, and I'm going to get on the Meta thing and, you know, schedule all my posts through Facebook. And other days I'm like, I'm not doing anything today. So I'm very mood driven, but self-driven, but my moods will dictate to me what will happen today and what's not going to happen today. If that I'm sure there's other women that can relate to me. And Bronwyn was saying something about feedback. Oh yeah, I find it really amazing that on some of the platforms, you know, you see people post stuff, and I know my content is really good. Like it's really about life skills and really digging deep into yourself and into your shadow, like working out who you are and why you do what you do. My content I know is really good. And I see other people that post someone else's meme or someone else's quote, and everyone's going, oh, that resonated so much. And they get all the feedback. And I don't get that. I don't know whether my posts are intimidating and people don't feel that they can have their response into it. They feel like, okay, she's yeah. So I think that's what I need to work on, is how to get that engagement, have people responding and asking me questions I want them to ask, because the whole reason I do what I do is for people to live their best life. So
maybe inviting them to direct message you, because if it is very personal, I think a lot of people don't want to share a lot of that stuff because of the reasons that on those fears, and the fear of being judged or the fear of oversharing or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, these days people will just say what they want to say. I mean, some of the responses that people put on posts are, in my mind, I look at it, I go, how can you even put that in writing on that person's post, like from a nasty point of view? And then you've also got people who'll share their whole life stories on there. And so I don't know. I see that and I think people are quite, I mean, you've got people that are very private. I think LinkedIn people are very well to do on LinkedIn. Most time they answer very professionally and make sure they don't do any spelling mistakes. And then you go onto a Facebook page and people are just blah everything. But I don't get responses. I might get the occasional like. I think I've got people that are watching and they don't respond at all because they're just really monitoring what I'm doing or just want to have a little look. So that's my experience.
They're all challenges that are associated to the fact that you haven't got the wider content strategy. So, you know, that's and also maybe haven't really fully defined who your ideal target audience is. Who is life being in it actually? What's the niche group that you actually want to be known by and for? So we're doing this business development masterclass, and we've actually been spending a lot of time looking at who our ideal clients are, and even though a lot of what we do, it could be good for everybody. That part is actually saying owning a niche market first and looking at other markets down the track might be fine. But if you really do own a niche, you know, and really understanding what are the triggers and what are the things for them, then you can actually not only speak to them through your content, but also go out and connect to them in real life as well. And that's where LinkedIn's great, because you can be actually outreaching invitations to connect, catch up, organising something where people join together. And it's probably, the answer is probably somewhere in your music world as well, I think. Probably somewhere in that creative.
Yeah, because of what I do, it's quite broad. It's not really
so it's about bringing that broadness in to be meaningful to that one, thinking about that one person. Like I was thinking about that one firm when I'm writing my strategy, and then it speaks to other firms like them.
Yeah.
And I get a flow of work coming through because of that, because that these people go, oh my God, she knows me, the type of person I am. So thinking about that, who are the people you relate to and they relate to you. Yeah. It is, it's a challenge because you know that it's broad, but it's marketing strategy 101.
Okay.
Yeah. Over to Claudette. What about you? What are you thinking about might be your focus areas, steps going forward with LinkedIn or not? Do you want to take yourself off mute?
Following on from my first comment, the first thing I'm going to do is actually write about Footprints Publishing.
Good.
And why we're so good at what we do.
Excellent. I love that. I love it. And I think Kerry's still listening in, but obviously I don't know if Kerry can take yourself off mute and share, or are you still stuck? Okay. She's commenting in chat, so she's definitely with us in spirit. Okay, well, that is amazing. And we have only just a little bit of time to go before we finish up. For those of you who have an idea about what you want to do, if you're looking for an accountability buddy, or it has been muted before that we set up a Businesswomen Australia LinkedIn community pod. And that is where we would pick a day where we interact with each other's posts and it starts to get a bit of traction. You might find that could work for you. If you are interested in having an accountability buddy or a LinkedIn community pod, please put in the chat box and we will follow up with you. the way that LinkedIn community pods work is they're basically sort of a random community of people that interact with each other's posts. So you say, okay, I'm going to do one post a week, and everyone in my pod will know that they'll look on. So you set a bit of time. It might be on the first Tuesday of every month. Our pod will all different share, and we'll all work it out with each other. Now the algorithms have actually picked up on this, so there's some pros and cons around this. But I actually
chime in and say that.
Yeah, but I actually think I don't really care about the algorithms. I think it's a great way to build your confidence amongst your own community, because your own people will see that you're getting really interesting reactions, and it's also a part of an accountability process. So you might only do it for a few months, and it helps you change habits. So yeah, that it could be a way that you like to do it or not. So the other thing is using this community. So there's lots of ways you can use this community to really flex that LinkedIn confidence. Letting people know that you're coming to an event. When you are saying you're attending something, put something in the comments. I'm looking forward to this, and tag me at Lynn Hawkins. I've got 20,000 followers, and that people will then, the algorithm sees that you're connecting with someone who's highly connected. If you use hashtags, check your hashtag. You can do a little way of putting the hashtag into LinkedIn and seeing, is it a decent hashtag? I've seen so many people do dicky hashtags and they've got no followers, right? So hashtag Perth Business has lots of WA followers. So that's a good hashtag to use for people in Perth. So start thinking about which hashtags will help push that out and utilize it. And that's the same on Instagram as well. And same, I think, with Facebook. Thinking about learning how to use those and tagging people that might be interested in what you're doing. So, I try and tag our members. We can't tag as many as we used to. I used to have millions of tags, and then I'd tag the rest of them in comments. And that way they get notified that I've put a post up. I don't have to do that as much as I used to at the beginning. So, it's using that ampersand and tagging someone, or using the hashtag with a topic, are two really great tools. Another thing you can do inside your Business Women Australia community is to connect with each other. I hope you've all, you're all on here, all our directory of members is on the directory. Connect, send a connection request with a message. Mention that, you know them through Business Women Australia's community. Engage with their content. If you can see Katrina's doing something, engage with it, like it, comment, share. And then your engagements with someone like Katrina, who's getting great traction, the algorithm will reward you, and vice versa. And of course, you will love that too, and vice versa. Create and participate in these LinkedIn pods. There might be a pod inside your industry or another community that you're in. And share insights and celebrate wins. There's nothing better than sharing a personal win. People love that. They're the ones that seem to get a lot of traction, Teresa. So you might be sharing meaningful stuff, heartfelt stuff, but when you share a win or something fun or something that you're doing, or a great, or a great event that you've participated, or a beautiful view that you've seen, something that's a little bit of a personal moment, that's a beautiful moment, that will probably get more traction. Like you say, a meme that someone shared, because it's a low risk. It's low risk engagement for the people that are following you, that are in your world. So think about the levels of risk. So when you're doing your content strategy, have some really low risk things, like our Monday motivations was meant to be low risk shares. And generally, just remind people that we are a motivational group as well. So yes, all those sorts of things. And if you see some bit of research, or you think that's good, or someone's post really good and you think that's going to be of value to someone else, tag them in the comments. That's great, because then they'll know that you're thinking about them. And it's all about building those relationships and meaningful relationships off LinkedIn, because the whole purpose of doing this is to actually build our community, build our influence, raise our profile. So I hope that has been a useful use of our time connecting today. We can do some quick checkouts. As I get to publish my playbook, Kerry said, this has been really valuable. Thanks. Sorry for being a fringe dweller today. All fine, Kerry. It's so good that you actually did jump on and you're here listening. And that's perfectly okay. We're very happy for everyone to just join in any way they can, not to feel that if you aren't well or what have you, that you can't come in. That's the whole purpose of having these virtual connections. So quick checkouts from everyone. Teresa, how are you feeling?
Oh, good. Thank you. Thank you very much. It was very insightful for me today, and I just need to, I think, put a lot more energy and focus into my strategy, and have a think about everything that was spoken about today. So thank you so much for this opportunity that you've presented for me to be involved with.
Good to have you here. Thank you. Over to you, Claudette.
Sorry, what? Over to me?
Checking out, finishing up.
Oh, no, I'm not checking out yet. Still got about 30 years to go. But no, it has. It has been interesting, and I must say about hashtags, I have not used those for so long. It's not funny. So yeah, I'm going to get back onto LinkedIn. I'm going to do a proper profile of Footprints Publishing, and yeah, connect with others.
Nice, excellent. Yeah, those outreach connections are great.
Yeah.
See you, Bronwyn.
Thanks, Lynn.
Thanks, Claudette. So good to have you. We missed you last night.
Oh, I missed it too, but yeah, the driveway and everything was just too much of a challenge.
Yeah, understand. Bronwyn.
So I've taken lots of notes. This has been really helpful. Thank you. And I am going to be messaging everyone. I have already sort of sent connection requests, and I accepted one from Katrina. Thank you for that. And so yeah, I will be getting in touch, and I do want to just see where this goes. You know, it's just, I guess, that curiosity of, you know, well, I've met someone new. Is there something that we you know, have common interests? Is there something where we can help each other? And you know, I'm going to be getting in touch with Claudette because I do plan on writing a book. And I was, you know, debating whether or not do I just sort of go with Amazon, sort of like a ebook, or do I actually get a physical book? And so I want to explore that possibility. And yeah, so there's lots that I've been thinking about.
Both.
Yeah. Sorry?
Both.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Well, I guess no reason why I can't do both, is there?
Different audiences.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. But yeah, no, it's been really helpful. And yeah, I really like what you say about the tagging and hashtags in terms and also being really targeted with you know, who this post is for, and you know, reaching out to people already in my network that might find this interesting. So yeah, thank you so much.
And I highly recommend you reach out to Dr. Kate Ringvale and Kate Biondo at the Galactic Cooperative in Western Australia, and they're members of Business Women Australia, and they're very key leaders in sustainability and the circular or replenishing economy.
Great.
Right up your alley, great. And they're on our, Dr. Kate Ringvale is on our directory, so you'll find her in there. And you'll be able to listen to some past podcasts and webinars that are on our recordings of theirs as well. So I highly recommend that's your world, that's building out that network, that community.
Wonderful.
Excellent.
Thank you, Lynn.
Yeah. And Alicia.
Look, I'm just loving at the moment, you know, being connected with women, because it's totally just a different energy, and it feels like, you know, that sense of vulnerability sometimes when you're in a room of, you know, other men, you just like your walls are kind of brought down. So I'm I'm loving just the vulnerable sharing and the collaboration and helping each other, and just hearing other people's experience, what their challenges are, and yeah, just that willingness and openness to help each other. So thank you.
Thanks, Alicia. And yeah, well, I'm looking forward to, I will promise I've got on my to-do list to do my discovery document for the content strategy, which Vida has promised me is actually really helpful to go into our whole like marketing strategy as well. So I'm looking forward to it. It's very thorough.
Amazing. Well, I look forward to receiving it. Thanks.
Homework every weekend. Over to Katrina.
This has been amazing. If I'm 100% honest, I nearly didn't come because I'm so sick. And 5 minutes before the call, I was like, can't do this. And I'm so glad I have. This Business Women Australia is just, I don't know, it's just such a powerful group. Even when you're not feeling well, you know, you get so much from it. I've booked in for Alicia's. I've taken a spot already, so it's booked in and done. And for me, it's been a reminder of how far I've come. That's what this morning's been for me. A few years ago, I was really afraid of LinkedIn because I'd focused so much on Instagram and Facebook. And I suppose at that point I was, you know, remember, Lynn, I was resistant to work with corporate because I had a really bad experience with corporate. And now, you know, LinkedIn has just been such a powerful place for me. So for me this morning, it's just been a sort of a reflection of how far I've come. And, you know, it takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. And that's a big thing that I've been learning this year in particular. You know, networking takes a lot of time. And this year I'm having success from networking that I persisted with, even with this group and other groups and showing up on LinkedIn. And it takes time. It just won't happen in a year. It could take two, it could take three, but you just have to keep doing it. And the more you do it, the more it works.
Yeah, and to enjoy the process and not put yourself under too much pressure
And
to,
not be going out looking for instant results. You know, I now don't connect with people thinking about business. I connect to learn and grow and build relationships. And the more you build those relationships, it just naturally comes. And that's the big thing is for me this year is letting go and not being, you know, just always expecting to have something back instantly. It's just it'll come when it's supposed to come.
yeah, that's it. That's
Can
beautiful. More people
I
that,
add to that? Sorry to interrupt, but I now think about creating content as a way to outflow what I'm passionate about and passionate about helping people do in their business. And like you said, turning those online connections into in-person connections. And there is that sense of, you know, people are craving human connection, and AI is, you know, no one wants to hear about AI at the moment. Maybe to improve processes, but like, you know, that content side of things is just, yeah, people are over it.
I think everyone's just craving those in-person connections for sure. We're finding that, you know, we've got wait lists now. We're back to where we were pre the pandemic. You know, everyone's really wanting to enjoy each other and learn about each other and be there for each other and be each other's cheer squad. Certainly in our community, I'm loving that. And you know, and when people can't come, they're devastated. You know, if they're not well or something's happened, it's like, oh, I can't get there. You know, it's like, and when people are able to come, it's so gorgeous. Even these connections are beautiful, and I try and replicate as much of it being around holding space for each other and that sharing, because this is actually how we are getting to know each other. You know, I always say we're your mates, not your market. But if we understand what you're doing, we'll be your biggest cheer squad, and we'll be able to have our eyes and ears open to be able to introduce you to people that we see when we're out there, you know, in doing our thing. It's incredible. So thank you so much, ladies, for carving out the time to be here. I loved having the smaller group. It was lovely. And, you know, because the breakout rooms are great, but, you know, quite often I'm sitting in a blank screen, you know, sort of ticking off things, and it's kind of disruptive for me, and so I've loved this. So it's gorgeous to have you all here today. So go forth, put in place, carve out some time, 15 minutes. 15 minutes a week is a really great way to start, and then to build it out to 15 minutes two times a week. in your calendar, which is your LinkedIn stuff, however way you want to call it. And it's about carving out that time because everything else will take up the time, as we well know, unless you put it in your calendar. So I challenge you all to do that. It's lovely to have you here. Have a great weekend when you get there.
Challenge accepted, Lynn.
Thanks, Lynn.
Good early.
Bye.
Yeah,
Bye,
everyone.
all.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye,
Get
Lynn.
well, Katrina.
Thank you. Thank you. I will. Thank you. See you
Bye.
soon. Bye.
Well.